As the unemployment rate continues to rise, unfortunately, so does the number of foreclosures. We all know somebody who's lost their job, they can't afford to pay their bills, they think that foreclosure is definite. Well, our next guest is telling us that actually foreclosure can be avoided. Our next guest is attorney Julius Amourgis. Welcome to the show, Julius.
Thanks very much.
A lot of people out there, like I said, we all know somebody who's in an economic bind right now.
Yeah.
Can you really avoid foreclosure?
You can try, and what people don't really understand is that there are many options to try, especially when you're out of work or your interest rate is rising, even though you're still working, or your spouse is out of work. You can still try to avoid foreclosure rather than just taking your family and running and leaving the house or you know.
You hear so many stories of that. As soon as someone gets a foreclosure notice, they've never been in this situation before, they pack up half their things, all their things, and they leave. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think they get scared. I think they've spoken to somebody. They think the word foreclosure, you know, sort of says, well, they got the notice and they don't have a right to go and talk about it. You know, the court system is there to help. The judges have all set up sections to help. The lawyers want to help people you know, and they might be able to get back to work 6 months from now, and everything can be great. So people need to know their options.
So instead of leaving their home, they should at least explore, because you just mentioned, you know, because the number of foreclosures are rising, aren't there new programs that are coming out from the government and from local all the way to the federal to help people out of this mess? Because that's, you know, this is what right now our economic downturn is because of the housing market.
Well,
one of the reasons.
Yeah, and I don't know. One
of the reasons.
I'm sure there's many, and
yes.
I don't know them all, but I would say that, you know, in some ways they're just homes, or just houses, but for families they're homes. And I think that the families ought to know, don't leave the house. Call to try and get into a program, but call a lawyer. They want to help. And as I say, the judges that the people
right.
have elected, everyone's trying to help. And there is help out there. And absolutely have some confidence and don't get depressed and don't just pack up and leave the house. Everyone knows a neighbor or two that the house is suddenly vacant. There's a tricycle milling around on the yard that they haven't really taken. No, don't do that. Stay at home. Call someone for help. And we don't know the specific outcome of each case, but try, because there is hope out there, and many people have been able to resolve it.
Right. Obviously, you can't predict the future and what's going to happen, but if somebody calls you because they're facing foreclosure, they think they might, what's the process that you go through to actually help them stay out of foreclosure? Well,
I think it's important to see what all their bills are. You know, sometimes people are paying, for example, they get all sorts of phone calls, nasty phone calls, because they have other debts, let's say credit card debts or other things that are pressing on them, and they call every day. So sometimes they think, I can get rid of 10 little credit cards and not pay my mortgage. Well, that might not be the best way to do it, but there is some money. You can rearrange it, and everyone wants them to stay in their home. Everyone wants it to work. Everyone wants the families to stay together, and everyone wants a great result. Just call for help.
So are you saying to actually be proactive? Let me give you a scenario, if I may.
Sure.
Someone just lost their job a week ago.
Sure. And
they're worried about, okay, well, I don't know what this job market's going to be like. I'm more than likely going to be facing foreclosure here. Should they be proactive and actually call you to say, okay, what if X happens? What do I do at Y? Would you suggest them doing that?
Yeah, I would absolutely suggest them to seek out an advice, for example, of an attorney, because things take time. And for example, to find a job, but they also take time to eventually get foreclosed on. It can take quite a bit of time if you're proactive. Very quickly if you don't, but if you do something and you call a lawyer, it could take some time. And they want to see you get a job. They want to see their mortgage paid back to the bank. That's what they're looking. So everyone wants that person to have a success, to keep their home and to pay their bills. It may not be able to do it right now, but they might be able to do it later quite well. So it's important that they have hope and do something about it. That's the most important message.
And another important message is there is alternatives to foreclosures. So you could give Julius Amourgis a call at JP Amourgis and Associates in Independence, 216-341-HOME, or in Fairlawn, 330-535-6650, or go to their website, amourgis.com. Great advice. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Very welcome. Thanks very much.